Hello and welcome to the bonus activity for the while loops. Now what we did last lesson is we familiarized ourselves with what a while loop is. Now the while loop is essentially, please computer, can you repeat this task forever? So anything that you put in the while loop will be repeated forever. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to build out this thing, so lasers coming down the corridor essentially. So let me run that and let me show you what happens. So run. Now this is great for, oh, not run, I want to play here, my bad. This is great for obbies and like maze games. And the game we're going to be making later is going to be a zombie escape game. So this is really good addition to that kind of game. Now what happens is you have a laser here that is shooting, and when it is not shooting, you can run through it. And then when it is shooting, it instantly kills you. Now, that wasn't the lava that we added in the first class. That was our landmine. So what you can do here, and it's a really good practice to do, use the projects that we're learning in class and retool them in other directions, essentially, in other parts of your project. So this is why I want you to experiment. So how we're going to do this, first of all, is you will need a wall on either side. And then what you're going to need is you are going to need a cylinder part. So let's add that here. Let's bring that here. Oh, come here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it. And then we're going to scale it up a sec. So let's scale this, and do not forget to anchor this because it'd be quite embarrassing if your lasers fall off the wall. In fact, feel free to experiment with the position here a little bit. So if you want your lasers sort of shooting in different directions, then have a play around with this, like so. I'm just going to track this now, actually. Yeah, so let's rotate that. Yeah, that's better. Scale it a little bit more. How does that look? A little bit more. Brilliant, perfect. Right, I would also like to change the material because I don't want this to look like plastic. I actually want this to look like an actual laser. So I'm going to say neon here. Brill, and I'll just do the same with that one. Just it's a bit more consistent. Brill, and then let's not forget to anchor it, and then let's go to the script. Now, and rename this. So laser 2. Now, for this, what you're going to be doing is you will be adding 2 scripts. We did this briefly in the first extension activity, getting the lava to rise. Now, the reason why this is so important is this is called separation of concerns in programming. Don't put all your code in one script. And the reason why is if something goes wrong, it is a lot harder to debug. So as you can see here, I have my code for destroy, which you have done before. So that is going to be your challenge here. And then what you have is you have your code to shoot. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm just going to add in fact, yeah, I'll add both of them. So let's do the destroy one first. So you've done this before, so let's call this destroy. And then let us quickly just bring in our parameter, bring in our properties. So local, and then we're going to call this laser equals scripts dot parent. We want a function on touch. We want to connect these two together, so we want to say laser dot touched. Then we want to say connect, and then on touch there, like that. Now we want to check if it's a humanoid, so we want to say other part for the parameter. Brill. let's check what's touching it. So local character equals parts dot parent, and then local humanoid equals character, then find first child, which is humanoid. Bro. And then what we just want to do is we want to say if humanoid, then we want to do something. And what we want to do is we want to reduce the humanoid's health dot health to 0. And that will then instantly kill them. This is always going to be working. So this is going to be working if the player touches this part. Now, what we're going to do here in the while loop is we're going to go into here and we're going to add another script. Now, this script, I'm just going to call this shoot because that's what it's doing. Okay. Now, here we need to do the same thing. First of all, we need to local laser and then say scripts.parent. Now we're going to do the while loop, and the while loop is never going to stop. So if you remember how to do the while loop, we need the while keyword, and while it's true, then do something. Now, what we want to do here is we want to do 3 things. Now, the first thing is we want to turn the transparency off, so it's invisible. So laser.transparency equals 1. Next thing we want to do is we want to turn the can collide off so we can walk through it. So laser dot can collide equals false. And now the final thing. We haven't done this one before, but this one is very, very similar to can collide, but it's a bit different. Laser dot can touch equals false. Now, the difference between can collide and can touch is this. Can collide, you can walk through it. But if the can touch is set to true, then what this means is you can walk through it and you're still touching it, so it will still activate. Now, this one is quite useful if you want to trigger. This combination is quite useful if you want to trigger traps. If you have an invisible, let's say for example you've got zombies through an invisible wall, and when the player touches the trap, the zombie wall transparency will be 0, and then the can collide is turned to false, so the zombies can run through the wall. What this allows us to do is we turn the can collide to false, transparency to 1, and the can touch to true. This would then allow us to place invisible traps around the room and the player won't know where they are. But in this case, we actually want to walk through this. Otherwise, if we don't, then this will actually kill us. So we want to set can touch to false, like that. Then what we're going to do is we need to wait 3 seconds, and then we just want to do the same thing here, but we want to turn it all back to how it originally was. So transparency would be 0, can collide is true, and then can touch is also true. And now don't forget, put in another wait at the end just to wait it out like that. Okay. Now let us try this. So play from here. There we go. Right, that is shooting. So let's see. All right. So let's have a quick look. So we have the destroy if humanoid. That's why. Misspelling humanoid. Yeah, always check your spelling. But go to the debugging lesson if you're having problems with this, because this is The reason why we're always using the same techniques with the humanoid is because go back to the debugging lesson, and then I will show you how to essentially figure out when something goes wrong using print statements. So always be checking that lesson, the debugging one. That will be your best friend here. Right, let's try that again. So let's go run. There we go. Right, that kills us. So now I just want to see if I can run through it. So last thing, let's play here. And 3, 2, 1, run. And it works. Good. Fantastic. Right, now in the next lesson, what we're going to be doing is we will be building out the last kind of loop, a really important one, and I'm going to show you how to do poison damage. It's very similar to this one here, but it will actually continue to damage you even when you're off the bridge. So fire damage, poison damage, really, really useful there. Right, I shall see you in the next one.